We're taking a bit of a break for Thanksgiving, but I will see you on Monday.
Live from Singapore, essential business news as it breaks and a look at the economic news that will shape the day. This is BBC World News and Asia Business Report.
Potential softening of the US central bank's monetary policy tightening. The latest minute shows some members are concerned about risks to the financial system. We'll have analysis. Plus, unrest in a massive Apple factory in China's Zhengzhou. Protests and violent clashes threaten operations. We'll have the latest. Hello and welcome to Asia Business Report. I'm Karishma Vaswani. Our top story for you today: interest rate hikes in the world's biggest economy could move less aggressively in the future. Minutes from the US Federal Reserve's meeting earlier this month showed that members thought they should slow the pace of interest rate increases. The minutes come on the back of uncertainty in the global economy after China slipped back into lockdowns as it battles a spike in COVID cases. Now, the US Central Bank meets again in December, and analysts are expecting a 0.5% increase then, slightly smaller than the 0.75 percentage point hike we've seen in the last few quarters. We can speak now to Steve Hanke, a professor of applied economics at the Johns Hopkins University. He also served on President Ronald Reagan's Council of Economic Advisors, and he joins me now from Baltimore. It's wonderful to get you on the program. Just to get your thoughts on those minutes and whether you think the aggressive rate hikes in the future are a thing of the past. Will we see this softening?
Well, it does look like they're backing off a little bit on their aggressivity. I think perhaps maybe for the wrong reasons. I don't think the Fed actually is looking at the right thing. And the right thing is the growth in the money supply. And it turns out that for the last year, the money supply essentially has not grown in the United States. So the tightening has already occurred. And if you look actually at since March, the money supply has shrunk by 1.5%. So we're in a very tight situation if you look at the money supply. And the money supply is the only thing that counts because that really drives nominal GDP and inflation rates. That's why we got so much inflation in the United States in the first place.
Yeah,
they goose the money supply.
Just to jump in there on that money supply point, just to jump in there on that money supply point, how can they fix that particular problem? What would you suggest?
Well, I think instead of contracting the money supply, which we've only had 3 times in the history of the United States, where we've had sustained contraction of the money supply, 1929, 1937 and 1968, and now we have it again. So that's really a warning point. And I would be growing the money supply at about 5 or 5.5%. That's the rate of growth consistent with meeting an inflation target of 2%. And they're not doing that. They're actually squeezing it and contracting it. But I don't think they realize that they are, because they've canceled the money supply. They're not looking at the quantity of money.
Right. So how do you suggest that they do that? How do you suggest that they boost money supply? And if they don't, what are the chances of a recession next year?
Oh, I think the chances, it's baked in the cake. We're going to have a good recession in 2023 next year, because we've had now a full year with flat money growth, and that with a lag of about 6 to 18 months results in a big slowdown in economic activity. So the year 2023, sometime in that period, we will have a pretty good recession.
Steve Hankey there, Professor of Applied Economics at the Johns Hopkins University. Thank you so much for joining us on Asia Business Report with your thoughts. Well, let's head to China now, where Foxconn has confirmed an outbreak of unrest at its Zhengzhou plant in the Henan province after footage emerged on social media of workers clashing violently with security personnel. The facility, which makes the majority of Apple's iPhones, was also at the heart of a COVID-19 outbreak last month, forcing authorities to lock down the complex. My colleague Stephen McDonnell has more.
There's been yet more turmoil at the enormous Foxconn complex, the world's largest producer of Apple iPhones. And workers there, protesting workers, were seen to have been using sticks to smash surveillance cameras, to also hit windows in the complex. Then they busted through these COVID walls designed to restrict people's movements and clashed with police and other security dressed in full white hazmat suits. As a result of those clashes, some people have had to go to hospital. Where this is all stemming from is that the company, Foxconn, is trying to remain open while there's an outbreak of COVID inside the factory complex, but also in the city of Zhengzhou. Workers there are in a kind of bubble, a sort of closed loop management, whereby, they sleep at a place inside the sort of bubble, their own dormitory, then go to the workplace. Dormitory, workplace, dormitory, workplace. But it isn't working in terms of stopping the tensions. That's because those who've had COVID are then returning to the assembly line, and other workers are complaining they don't want to be working anywhere near them because they're scared that they will catch the virus. And there's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of ignorance in China about the nature of COVID, which is fueling this. Other protesting workers said that they'd been promised these bonuses if they stayed at the workplace throughout the crisis. Well, they're saying they haven't got the bonuses. And some of the workers were also chanting that they just wanted to go home. Now, that's exactly what happened a few weeks ago. People who followed this will know that thousands of workers defied the authorities. They were told to remain at the workplace. Instead, they'd heard these rumours about more strict COVID measures, jumped over fences and walked hundreds of kilometres back to their hometowns. Since then, Foxconn has tried all sorts of inducements to retain its massive workforce. But despite the fact that there are still people there working, it will no doubt hit the global supply of iPhones, and you'd have to think there'll be a few less of those devices in Christmas stockings this year.
Well, we'll learn about the strength of consumers in the world's biggest economy over the weekend. The holiday shopping season traditionally kicks off with Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Michelle Fleury has more.
American retailers hope this holiday season will be a magical time of year, offering big discounts to lure in shoppers. More than 160 million people are expected to shop over the 4 days between Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
What a world of difference.
Dana Telsey, chief executive of the Telsey Advisory Group, said shops have too much stock, a reversal after last year's shortages.
Last year there was not enough inventory and everything was selling at full price. This year there's too much inventory, and it's only the magnitude of promotions that will continue to increase as we get closer to Christmas.
And with many stores starting sales in October, not everyone is waiting until Black Friday to snag a deal. Are the deals better this year? I mean, it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Actually, yes, it's actually better and sooner.
I see you've got some bags there. Have you found any good deals today?
We just went into Bath & Body Works and they had a buy 3, get 3 free. So that was a pretty good deal.
Others not so impressed.
Right. You get better deals when it's off season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in the summer buying winter pieces and the winter buying summer pieces, that's when you get the best deals.
This year marks the return of big discounts. Good news for consumers at a time when they've seen their purchasing power decrease because of inflation. So far, consumer demand has proved resilient. The question is, will that continue?
Mexico, Lebanon, and all these are spices.
Rowena Scherer is the founder and chief executive of the multicultural cooking kit company Eat to Explore. 50% of their revenue is made between now and the new year. To boost sales, the company started its promotion on November 1st.
A lot of people are feeling the pinch on between the gas price and just basic ingredients are going up. So ours boxes is a great gift, but it's also discretionary.
This might be the deal of the store because
Fashion blogger Catherine Brock knows a thing or two about value.
$20 is a great price for jeans.
We asked the budget fashionista to visit several shops for us to check out the deals.
They're $11.75, so still a good price for a warm sweatshirt, but it has definitely gone up.
She told us the discounts may not make up for inflation.
I know what's happened with my grocery bill. I feel like it's so much higher, and being able to buy a sweater for my sister for Christmas for $20 instead of $30, I think that helps a little bit, but I don't think it offsets it. I don't think it's going to be enough for people who've been sort of falling behind all year long.
With US consumers shopping longer for fewer gifts that are more expensive, will this be a ho-ho-hum holiday shopping season for retailers? Michelle Fleury, BBC News, New Jersey.
So many concerns there, reflective, of course, of the overall global consumer picture as inflation continues to affect so many economies around the world. But for now, that's it from us. Thanks so much for watching. Do stay with BBC News.